Yep.
Second half the other day, obviously you guys, had the 20-point lead, things like that. Did you feel, in looking at the tape, that Duke did anything in particular to kind of slow the offense down?
It's a good question because it's one of those things. I really love the week of practice we had. I love the way we started the game, the first half. Just in the second half, and I told the guys this, I said, I just couldn't get us. It's on me. We didn't get back in a rhythm for whatever reason. We can say, this or that, but at the end of the day, it's my job to get it done. And we didn't get back in a rhythm and put ourselves in some long yardage situations with a couple penalties, and then, and not being really good early in the downs, first and second down. And, give Duke credit. They did a good job, but nothing really different than the first half. It's just comes down to we need to execute better in some places, but mostly it's, I got to do a better job of getting us going. And we got into a little bit of a lull there and couldn't get out of it, and our defense was battling and fighting their tails off. So, the way I see it is we got to coach better, and if we coach better, we'll play better. And I told our players that. I'm always real honest with them and, point out some things. You play college football 70, 80 snaps a game, you're going to make some mistakes here and there. But at the end of the day, it's on me. We got to get these guys a better opportunity to get things back in rhythm. And I think that's really what I felt like in the second half. We never got back in rhythm. The first half, I thought we did, hit some plays and so forth. And so got to really go back to work and do a better job.
Had some guys banged up, some guys were sick, inexperienced,
Yeah.
things. So much of that, not to cast all the blame on the line,
No.
just having that kind of.
You know what, though, they all handled it well. I mean, they kept battling and fighting. So, and sometimes you just got to be next man up mentality. And honestly, when you're upstairs and you're not right there on the field with them, you don't really feel all that. And, we got a lot of confidence in the eight or nine guys that play, and that wasn't an issue at all. I think those guys played their butts off and competed, and they at times we look really good. I think our deal on offense is we got to be more consistent, and that's from myself, coaching standpoint, also playing, but we got to stay in rhythm, be more consistent, and don't put ourselves in tough situations. Go ahead.
Is there a level of concern about the number of touches Omarian's getting? He had 35 against Minnesota, including the two penalties there. I think he had 35 the other night as well.
I think so. I think we've got to, probably got to. I got to do a better job of getting some other guys in there to take some relief on it. It's hard when you have a great player like him. He's a warrior. He wants to play every snap. That's what he is. I mean, he has the ability to come out anytime he wants from the standpoint of, he's gassed during a drive or whatever, and he's a huge part of what we do. But we got confidence in some other guys, so I got to do a better job of probably taking a little bit of a load off him. And, we want to be a run, play, action team. That's what we want to be, but we need to be better in some other areas to help take some of that load off of him for sure.
How do you balance the idea of not giving him so many touches, not getting hit so much, with the idea he's so good that he's your best option?
Yeah, it's a tough balance for sure because, a lot of times you're getting caught up in the moment of the game and you're just going. And I think, Larry and I have had great discussions about this, and Coach Brown. So we got to make sure we have a plan, stay with our plan. And at the end of the day, you're right. He's the best player, in my opinion, in the country. So you want him in there, but we need him the rest of the season. So probably need to do a better job of rotating some guys in there to help him a little bit.
Chip, what are you seeing from Pitt when you just in their early scouting?
Yeah, similar to what we saw. I mean, these guys are very physical. They're very give you a lot of looks, do a great job of trying to overload you in the box, and we didn't handle that great, so I'm sure we'll get that. And Coach Nardizzi, we got a lot of respect for him over the years, seen his defenses and watched him from afar. And then last year, and he does a great job. He's a guy that's a defensive head coach, you can tell, and the players play with a lot of confidence. They're very physical, play fast. And it's a similar team that you've seen from those guys. They're going to challenge you and contest all your throws and make you earn everything you get. And, again, we have to do a great job of staying in rhythm, I think, to have an opportunity to score some points. And that's kind of what we're trying to focus on.
Just building on that, these big progressive quarters, I guess, what kind of difficulties can that arise when you kind of scout that?
Yeah, I think it's difficult because there's not a lot of free access. The guys are pressed a lot of times, and they'll do some off, but they do a great job disguising. You can tell he's got a system in place that I know he's been really effective with over the years. They know, where their weaknesses are and where their strengths are, and the players know that. And I think anytime you have a system, whether it's offense or defense, and your players have a really full understanding of what the system is or what the play is you're running, the concept and kind of why we're running the play. I'm sure that's how he approaches defense as well. Then you can tell those guys very well coached. They understand, where their troubles could be in every call they have, and just really impressed with what I've seen on film.
Along the same lines of what AJ and the guys are talking about with the touches for Omarion, as you were coming into the season and Barlow was healthy, just as you're thinking things through, how many carries or touches did you sort of envision for Darwin as like a guy to spell Omarion? I mean, he's had one carry this year. I know he's been hurt.
Yeah, I think we talked about early in the season that 20 to 25 range, and that's probably including, he had a few catches the other day, I think, too, including the catches. But we got a lot of confidence in Bullitt too. I mean, he's come in and done well when he's in the game. It's not like he doesn't understand what's going on. So I think that's really on me. Got to making sure that I take care of him a little more and get some guys rotated in there.
Coach, Jacoby was moving well within the pocket on Saturday's game. What have you been working on with him, and how have you seen him just hone his pocket presence these past 2 days?
It has improved. I think he does a really nice job of keeping his eyes up as he's moving in the pocket and escaping. You saw him make a couple throws, I know, to JJ as well as Kobe as he was sliding around and up in the pocket. And we really worked hard of trying to make sure he understands certain drops, what his depth needs to be, to help our tackles or to help the O-line because of their set, depending on if it's quick game or drop back. And all that stuff has to tie in together, and I think Jacoby's improved in that area. A couple times probably a little deep on Saturday, and watching the film, I mean, he understands that really quick, and so I think he's improved. I think quarterback play, some guys have a really good knack of understanding how to keep their eyes up without watching the rush, and I think that's one of the strengths that he's shown is that he can make plays in and around, moving in and out of the pocket, and really on the run. For a guy that hasn't played as much, it's pretty impressive to see what he can do in those situations.
In the times we've been around him, he seems like a very mature young man. Obviously, he's had some ups and downs in his personal life getting to this point. How much does that help him, you think, stepping into what he's stepping into here?
I think your life, the things you go through in life kind of sometimes, a lot of times, they define who you are and what your personality maybe is or how you approach certain things. Getting to know him personally since he's been here is just really impressive. You're right, he's very mature, doesn't have as much experience as maybe his maturity shows from who he is as a person. I think that's a testament to his growing up and what he's learned throughout the years. But he's a very mature guy. I think he's never too high, never too low. I think that's a really good quality to have as a quarterback, and probably life experiences have helped him with that.
Gavin Blackwell get some snaps early in the game, and he obviously had that long catch on the final drive. Has he sort of been steadily improving in practice where he was able to earn those snaps?
Yeah, I think Lonnie and I are trying to figure out, okay, what's the right combination of guys that we can play. You were asking about Omarion earlier. Same way with the wideouts. You don't want three guys playing 80 snaps, and Lonnie's working through that. I think and really we compete in practice, and a lot of it depends on practice. How do they practice that week? I know he bases a lot of that on how who plays and what the rotation looks like. And then one thing with two is we have a lot of different personnel groups. Some 10, some 11, some 12. Bryson, move him around, so sometimes that factors into how many reps the receivers get, and each week's different based on the game plan. And but I like the progress that Gavin has made, to answer your question. And we need him down the stretch. He's a guy that's played some and played and done well. I remember the huge catch he had in the bowl game. So we need him to keep coming on, and he's improving for sure.
Jacoby took a lot on himself after the game the other night, and we were asking him about not having a lot of time to go through his progression, and he said that he just has to get rid of the ball quicker. To an open receiver as soon as they're open. How does a guy that's been in, I guess it's so hard to simulate game stuff, so he hasn't really had that before. Right. But how quickly do you think he can learn about going through progression, finding a second receiver when the rush is coming on, like maybe other guys that have played a lot more have been able to do.
You know, he's probably a little hard on himself. I would say there's probably 5 or 6 plays in his mind after watching it with him that he said, yeah, I missed that. The ball should have gone here. And that's probably what he's referring to because, like I said earlier, I think he's really done a nice job of keeping plays alive and pocket awareness and pocket presence. And so Jacoby is a guy that he's not going to point the finger at anybody. It doesn't matter if we don't pick up a pressure or we miss on the edge or something. So I think it's probably him trying to take the load. But really, if you go back and study what he did, and the thing I like that he's done too, he understands sometimes, hey, there's not a play there, throw it away, play the next play, you know. And you know, he had the interception. He still talks about James Madison where he threw back across his body, and those are learning experiences for him. But I like the way he's getting the ball out of his hand. We all have things, I'm sure, that we'd like to take back from Saturday, and I'm sure he's referring to that. But really, so far, I've been impressed. And, you know, I told you last week, I think, for the last 3 weeks, you know, since we lost Max, I mean, he has revved up everything from his he spends a lot of time up here watching film and studying and trying to get ready. And I think some of that's really paying off for him. And, again, we just got to be more consistent as a unit, and that's kind of what we're really striving for.
We all know about his arm strength. He's missed long several times. That's just a matter of experience, learning to kind of get the right timing.
That's a good question. I think sometimes it's the type of throw that he needs. The trajectory is what I'm talking about. You know, sometimes the throw calls for a back shoulder type throw to a big body on a good matchup like Bryson or so forth. And then sometimes the coverage is, hey, we want to throw the ball high and over the top. And maybe some of that is experience, although in practice he gets reps of that. So, you know, I know he was disappointed in himself on a couple of those for sure. And, you know, at the end of the day, in college football, they're going to you got to make contested catches. You have to, you know, win versus man coverage. And we had some opportunities where we did that and didn't execute. And, you know, I think he'll learn from it and grow from it. And we got to give those guys opportunities to get their hands on the ball for sure.
Mac was mentioning, you know, just in a general sense that offensively you guys are seeing safeties, you know, sort of glued to the line of scrimmage, and you need to be able to affect them more, is what he was saying, and remedy that.
Yeah.
You know, how do you try to go about doing that, again, in a general sense, not like an X and O to give away what you're doing?
Yeah, no.
Like, is that
sometimes it is for sure. Sometimes we're accounting for the guy with a snug split or whatever we're trying to do with going to block him. But at the end of the day, when we have a running back like Omarion, you're going to get that each and every week, and we've gotten it each and every week. And sometimes we've handled it great, and sometimes we haven't. And you know, a couple times the other day for sure we didn't. But you know, I think for us, there's a lot of different ways to handle it, and each week you're trying to figure out the best way. Is it RPO? Is it a tight split? Is it spread them out? You know, is it, you know, there's a lot of ways to do it. Is it motion? You know, throwing the ball in perimeter, a lot of different ways to do it. And those are kind of some of the things, looking back, that you know, I felt like I could do a better job of in the second half. When I say get us in a rhythm and help us a little bit, and that's on me to do it. That's why I'm here. It's what I'm paid to do. So we're going to work really hard and try to get better in those areas, and you know, try to make it as easy as we can for our guys to stay in rhythm. And I think that's the key to what we have to do. We didn't stay on the field enough in the second half, and that's you know, the first half it felt a lot better, and really only thing changed second half probably was our execution and ability to stay on the field.
Similar to that note, Duke seemed to sniff out a lot of your passing plays. How do you kind of improve that this weekend, especially facing Pitt, who's like a really physical-oriented team?
You know, you're right. Duke defended us well in some aspects. I think some of our route running, we got to clean some of that up. Decision making at quarterback, it's really it's everybody involved. You know, 11 people have to do their job on a play really to make it, to execute it at a high level. And I think there were times that, you know, they had a good defense on or whatever, and but there's also times we had opportunities we missed. So we got to take advantage of those opportunities when we get them. That's why they're so big, because when they come along, you got to be ready to hit them.
Tackles are massive, and maybe have struggled a little bit with speed guys on the edge these last 2 weeks. Is that something you observed? I guess how can you kind of fix that or work on that?
Yeah, you know, I think some of that is experience, like you're saying, being a young guy. But at the end of the day, you know, when you get in situations like at the end of the game, we're throwing, trying to go get them. We're in 6-man protections, and they're somewhat on islands. That's tough on them. And it's a 2-minute or 1-minute situation, and those guys are really gassed up to rush the passer. That's why we try to help them some in different ways. But at the end of the day, they are improving. I've seen a lot of improvement from, say, spring when we were doing that. You know, those guys are getting better each and every week. And, you know, playing tackle, that's why in the NFL those guys make the most money, those left tackles for sure, is because it's a tough deal. You're going to always be faced with their best athlete. And, you know, we got to continue to improve and then find ways to help them as well.
Got time.